It's a very quiet classroom.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so this is the Finance Committee second meeting. No official business has been done other than swearing in of some members and choosing of the chairman, the vice chair, which you guys will be choosing a new vice chair, I believe, and the secretary. So Tom is the chairman, Maria is the vice chair, the secretary, and then you're gonna be choosing a vice chair. And so, members, James, Elizabeth, Neil, and you guys come over here, please. And Jessica, we're gonna swear you in.
Okay, why don't we do the pledge, okay?
We're gonna start with the pledge, so, yes.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so those who are, need to be sworn in, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I
James Ferry.
do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
and perform all the duties
and perform all the duties
incumbent upon me as
incumbent upon me as
Finance Committee,
member of the Finance Committee,
according to the best of my abilities,
according
According to the best of my abilities,
agreeably to the rules and regulations
agreeably to the rules and regulations
of the Constitution
of the Constitution
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire,
and the laws of the state of New Hampshire.
so help me God.
So help me God.
All right, well, congratulations. I just have one short statement that I want to make.
Do you have forms for them all to sign?
Forms for them, I do not
And you
use.
got
I-
social media forms that you sign.
I have Code of Ethics forms. I didn't have social media forms, but
Okay.
if you wanted to sign off on the Code of Ethics, I have 4 right there.
We'll get those, you guys can grab chairs over there.
I'm sorry, I didn't know your name.
Jessica.
Jessica. Hi, Jessica.
Okay. So, the one other statement that I just wanted to make is in regards to the town ordinance for the Finance Committee. There was a question that was brought up about that, and upon speaking with some people in the legal sense of that, there's nothing to be concerned about as to, there was a couple members that had been considered for the Board of Selectmen. One of those members is chosen. She instantly stepped or resigned from the Finance Committee, and the other member is no longer being considered for any other position, so there is no issue there. So, no conflict of interest.
So,
Yep, no, you're good.
So this is just a general statement. I would like to point out, not all members of the committee are here, but the police department is aware of a conflict of interest with one member. All members of this committee, of course, signed the Town of Ware, New Hampshire Code of Ethics acknowledgement. In that acknowledgement, under the category of honesty, it states, "I will disclose any matters that might present a conflict of interest, and I will recuse myself when appropriate." For clarification, Merriam-Webster defines conflict of interest as a conflict between the private interest of the official responsibilities of a person in that position of trust. The basis of this conflict is a statement that was made to a Ware Police Department officer earlier this year by a member of the committee. The member stated that if the PD, the police department, did or did not take a specific course of action regarding a matter of public interest, the member would do everything within their power to make sure your, and by your, meaning the police department, would lose their funding or the funding is cut. The matter of public interest involved a topic which would have required public input and a public vote to enact. At the time of that statement, the committee member was not a member of any committee and had not been placed in a position of trust. As the member is now a part of this committee, a conflict of interest is present. I have contacted the offices of the Attorney General of New Hampshire Public Integrity Unit and have briefed him on the circumstances explained here tonight. The unit confirmed there is, in fact, a conflict of interest, and the member must recuse themselves from any matter involving the police department or the town's budget, because, of course, the police department's budget is part of the town budget. With this additional, I'm sorry, I don't need that part. I'm just advising that the police department will be monitoring this committee's meetings. Should we detect if a member has a conflict of interest and does not recuse themselves appropriately, we will take the appropriate action. Thank you for your time.
Chief, was the statement in writing or just?
Oral to an officer.
All right.
Yes.
May we have a copy of your remarks?
Sure.
Actually, could you just include them in the minutes or attach them to the minutes?
Yeah, I can send them to you.
Okay,
Yep. You know how to shoot me an email and I can respond back?
yeah, I'll shoot you an email.
Thank you.
Yes.
Further, may we know who this is?
So because one of the outcomes of this, the member first has an opportunity to recuse themselves, because they might have already planned to do that. Action would only take place if the member doesn't recuse themselves. As part of and you should be aware of this, the ethics board, most complaints should be anonymous, so the ethics panel can take the appropriate action without any inherent bias by their decision. That's why I've kept these comments broad. The member who made this statement will absolutely know who they are, and their actions will determine the outcome of what actions are taken.
Further question?
Yes.
You said the person made a comment about the police department budget, but you also said that the person should recuse him or herself from discussions of the police department budget, but you said also the entire town budget. Can you
Correct.
explain why?
Because under the warrant article, the police department budget is included in the town budget. It's a cumulative budget. Police department doesn't have a singular budget. We're part of that. So because any conflict, any bias of that conflict exercised toward the police department would also impact the town.
Thank you.
Yes, sir?
Chief, did you say you received outside counsel on making that decision?
Correct. So I've contacted the Office of Attorney General for the State of New Hampshire Public Integrity Unit.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
All right, Tom?
Okay, I gave you each a packet so we can scoot right through this tonight since we are on the clock here for 7 o'clock, and I think we can do that. We've already sworn in the additional members, so now our next item of business is to elect a new vice chair. Now, I did have somebody volunteer, but I don't think she's here. Carrie said she would be interested, but we'll take nominations from the floor and see who else comes up as well, but
I signed it. Sign it.
yeah, sure. Carrie, those of you who were here last time met, and she emailed me that she would be interested in the vice chair's position. So are there any nominations for vice chair?
I was thinking maybe, James, if you're interested, because you're kind of you've been on the committee for a while. So if you're not interested, then you can remove my suggestion.
I thank you for that, but I will respectfully decline.
Okay.
Is there anyone else? And would somebody like to nominate Terry, since she said, Carrie, since she said she would take it? And we have no other people banging on the door to say, let me in, so.
How about Tom? Are you interested?
I'd decline this. Thank you. I'll make a motion to make Carrie Tepper the vice chair of the Ware Finance Committee.
Second?
Any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just a quick question, is everybody on the email list now?
We all got the emails except for Neil wasn't on the list for last week. Elizabeth was, and James was, so I think we're all good.
Jessica
Jessica, I'm sorry.
needs to be, yeah, Neil and Jessica.
So going forward, everybody will be, and Carrie would have gotten an email for tonight as well.
Yes, she did, actually,
Okay.
she might have said she couldn't make it tonight. I know that Lori did, told me she could not be here tonight. I don't think that Carrie said that, but
And Tom, if I could, I think Janice and I guess Gary Evans are on the email list. They probably should come off if they,
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll take them out.
yeah. Just looking at the email from last month.
Okay, we got a new chair then, as vice chair. Adjust membership on the committees. Now Janice was on the committee for the Board of Selectmen. James has been in the past, and he actually went to the last selection meeting anyways. So if there's no objection and he would like to, we'll put you back on where you were last year.
That'd be fine.
On the Selectmen's Committee. We have an opening on the Ware Schools, I believe it is. I get last week's minutes. We only have two people, Bill Anderson and Lori Davis on Ware Schools. So either Elizabeth or Neil, would either of you Ware Schools?
Sure.
Okay. Or you can both be if you want, because they're not gonna come out even anyways.
Are each of the three subcommittees filled equally?
What we have right now is Ware Schools, Bill Anderson, Lori Davis, and then whoever we choose tonight. So that would be either 3 or 4. John Stark, Tom Flaherty, John Merva, Kerry Tepper, and Town, Tom Clow, and now James Drury, and Maria Fossiano. So there were 3, aiming for 3 on each, but we've got 1 extra person, so.
Then perhaps I should go on the town, if Elizabeth is going to go on the schools, because there's a lot more activity on the town.
Okay, that's fine. It's going to come out with 4 on one or the other anyway. So the adjustment that we'll make on those, we'll
Where
add,
will I go?
add Elizabeth, and, oh, sorry, Jessica.
Hi. Where will I go?
Oh, did you want to, if you want to go on
I'm
the
fine
town,
with-
I'd be
I'm fine with
glad.
any of them, so I just,
Yeah, we
Wanna find
have either Ware Schools or John Stark.
which one is typically more challenging?
Where schools?
Ware Schools.
definitely.
Schools.
John Stark's pretty simple.
How about where schools then?
Okay. Are we all set? And I'm sorry, I keep neglecting you, and you're sitting right beside me.
I won't let you. for
She's in your
long.
blind spot.
Poke me or something, you know. Okay, so we've got subcommittees, now we're moving right down to confirm CIP and department heads. If you look at, I think it's the 3rd page of your packet, I sat down with Naomi and came up with some dates, and all we got to do is really confirm those, so that it's a team decision and not my personal decision. So it's the 2nd page in your packet. So the 29th of November, we would be meeting with the CIP, and these are all 7 o'clock meetings. December 6th, the fire department, and December 20th, all of the other departments. That left 2 Thursdays that are open dates. So is everybody okay with those meetings? Okay?
Probably have to pick,
Pardon me?
you don't have police and you don't have DPW, and there's 3 departments, that's why I gave you those other 2 dates. I don't think you're gonna want police, fire, and everything else.
Oh, I thought that's what we agreed on, everything but fire. Or we could put another one in with the fire department, certainly, if they're ready.
The fire department, you have, I'm just looking at your night on the 20th, you might as well bring the coffee for the next day.
Right. Well, let's just temporarily move on to the next item, and that is discuss dates for the school presentations. And then we see how we can balance that out, because there's a letter from Jackie Coe there, and she offered 2 dates when they may be ready, and one of them is the 12th of December, but that's a Parks and Rec meeting date. And the other was the 21st, which would be a long week for us, because if we took the department heads on the 20th and schools on the 21st, but it would leave us a whole month of January where we wouldn't be rushed with our deliberations, so it would be good if we could get them all in December. So those are the 2 dates that Jackie gave me. 20th we'd already committed to. So she gave the 12th, 20th, and 21st, so that leaves the 12th to 21st. Is the Parks and Rec?
We don't have a choice. So if we
Pardon
have
me?
to go- It sounds like we don't have a choice. We have to do it the 21st, because if Parks and Rec are at 12.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Naomi if that's a pretty firm date on the Parks and Rec, or if there's any way to,
As far as I know it is, unless something, they always meet the second Tuesday.
yeah. It doesn't look like we have any choice unless we can tell Parks and Rec, ask Parks and Rec to move their meeting by 1 week, which I don't know if we can do or not. So tentatively, we'll go with the schools on the 21st then, which is Thursday. One thing we should have done at the beginning, has everybody had a chance to read the minutes from October 11th? If so, entertain a motion for those people who are here to accept the minutes of October 11th as printed.
Bill had just sent me one edit to the dates, the November dates of the school board meeting. So in lieu of the 9th, sorry, what did?
The 28th, I think, is the.
Yeah, in lieu of the 9th, the
28th.
November 9th date, it's gonna be the 28th.
28th
Yeah.
of November is when the
So
school,
I'll make
where
that
school
edit
board
before I
meets.
send out the final.
Yeah, Jackie included those dates too in her
Right.
memo, so I'm sure people who are on the school committees, subcommittees, would have those, but they are right here on the last page of the packet I gave you as well. And anybody is free to go any of the meetings. You're not restricted to the school or the town. You certainly could go to any of the others that you wish.
Tom, do you have dates when the various school board and town will be discussing budget items? So that members of the board who wanted to attend those,
Yeah, they are on that last page, I believe. That's all I have, is the email from Jackie, the first column. First paragraph, I mean.
Where Schools is doing their budget workshop on the 28th, 4 to 6, and then they have the school board, the school board meetings at 6 on the 28th, and that's when they'll present their first presentation of their next year's budget.
okay, and what about the town? I mean,
I don't have that
Okay.
this time. I don't know if Naomi has got that, the discussions. It's ongoing, but
is it starting now in every meeting?
I think the only thing they've done so far is set the gasoline, the fuel prices.
And there's nothing next week. 13th is the first one, next week, and it's like tax rate.
But that's based on last year's activity, not next year's.
There'll be some unhappy campers stuff.
We'll get it to people as soon as we have it.
Yeah, so the 13th, I know that is something revenue and,
On the 13th of November?
yes.
I was just going to, John brought it up at the beginning, but I had it in my notes here too. Just I got a rather lengthy email from a citizen concerning the responsibility of finance committee members if they decide to run for an office. And I just read a couple of sentences here. First of all, I told her that as chair of the Finance Committee, I have no authority beyond running the meetings in an orderly fashion and communicating with committee members on scheduling and procedures. The ordinance does state that the committee as a whole can recommend the moderator to the moderator that a member be removed, but it only states for lack of attendance. And then if you look at the ordinance, toward the end of it, and you keep this in mind as we move into January, and there are going to be openings for various positions. Any member of the Finance Committee who seeks a local elected office shall be disqualified from serving on the Finance Committee during the duration of that year's budget discussions. The moderator will be empowered to appoint a temporary replacement for that member during that time. So just keep that in mind if you have higher aspirations. You know, we are just so fast tonight that, does anybody else have any other business?
No, on the other town, like Naomi pointed out, on the other town presentations, it says all of the town departments on the 20th, and that was gonna be a problem. Is there any other opportunity to split them out and say the December 7th, or is that? Because the room's available on the 7th, but is,
Yeah, I don't think anybody's.
Nobody else gonna be
The
avail-
one that's gonna, the
Okay.
fire department is going first.
okay,
And the board of selectmen typically sees them
okay,
first.
okay.
What about police?
I don't remember I didn't know it was gonna be first, but, I mean, I can find it out.
It'd be helpful, I think, Bill's point was if
Yeah,
we could shift.
right, and Tom and I sat down with everybody's schedule, that's why, and those are the only days that were.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
It is gonna be a long night, for sure.
it's not unusual for us to do the bulk of the department heads all one night. It's just we haven't done the whole schools the next day before, but hey, get a good night's sleep. Anything else? John, anything else you'd like to add tonight?
Oh, could I have a copy of the minutes? Ones we just voted on, because I didn't have it, I didn't get those, obviously.
I can, well, I'll send the final draft out with the draft of today's.
I could give you one right here, Neil, because I have mine on my computer. I could, because I don't have 3 copies.
I guess the only other thing, Tom, is to clarify what you said earlier. The situation that's being discussed in that email is in regards to the opening that came up on the Board of Selectmen recently. That opening was not held, there was no election held. It's not an elected office. It's not a term, it's a temporary appointment. And I verified that through legal channels. So it's not somebody seeking an elected office in this particular situation. If somebody decides, you know, like you said in January or something, they want to run for an office, then they have to step aside from the committee. And I'm empowered to, you know, put somebody in their place temporarily. If they end up becoming elected, then obviously they wouldn't be able to serve the following year. At the end of next year, you know, beginning of the next fiscal year. But it doesn't mean where it says I'm empowered to, that doesn't mean I would have to replace that person. We currently have 11 members, looks like, or 12 potentially. And we can have as many as 13 as long as we have no less than 9. So it does say empowered to, it doesn't say that I shall or must replace that member either. So someone could decide to run, they would have to recuse themselves from the committee at that point. But it doesn't apply when there's an appointment that just comes up all of a sudden because somebody steps out of or resigns from a position on a different board. That make sense?
It does, but that wasn't the perception that people out in social media land had.
There's a lot of misperception out there. There was a perception that I was the only person that could make the decision about whether we hold an election or not when it's snowing, which is 100% not true. Just for the fact alone that we share a school district with Henniker, and I have to confer with the Henniker's moderator. Just that's one fact alone that makes that completely untrue. Go ahead, John.
So Janice did not have to, just to clarify, she didn't have to recuse herself from this committee.
Yes, she would have.
Well, not,
Well, she's not elected.
well,
Technically.
so.
She's selected.
And
So
legally
based on
wise, she was not elected, she was appointed.
Correct, so based on the ordinance, technically, no. However, based on RSA 669:7, she cannot serve on this committee and be a Board of Selectmen member at the same time. So by state law, she cannot, by the ordinance. And by the way, if you read the ordinance, it says the remainder of that year's budget discussions. Doesn't say that fiscal year. So when that was written, it wasn't looked over by a qualified attorney, in my opinion, because it's not written in such a way that it actually covers any of these potential situations or even states fiscal year, because the end of December 31st, have you guys finished your job?
No, we're just
No.
starting.
So it's fiscal year should be the way it's written, so the entire ordinance may need to be relooked at.
Sounds like you have some homework.
Well, no, I'm not on the committee. I'm just sharing some information with you. I swore you guys in, sharing information, and Tom's really in charge now.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I just pointed at him. See, the way that this worked out, just to clarify what happened, the night that Janice was chosen, I was at that meeting. She immediately, before she even sat down, turned to me and gave me a verbal resignation from this committee. When I got home and checked my email, probably an hour later, I had a written resignation from this committee. So, you know, it would almost have been impossible in the time frame for anything else to have occurred other than what did. So there certainly wasn't any foul play or I think, intentional oversight in any way. I did understand what the person was getting at who emailed me, and I gave a respectful answer. But, you know, there was no intent to deceive the public or whatever. And that immediate resignation, to be satisfied in an ethical sense, what had to be done. Anything else? Well, look at that, we have 4 minutes to spare. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Just so you know, Tom, as chairman, you can adjourn the meeting without a motion.